The champagne cork hit my office ceiling at exactly 1:46 p.m. on a Tuesday, and I had no idea I was celebrating the end of my marriage. To Regional Director Blake Thompson, my team shouted, raising their glasses in the conference room. 38 years old, youngest person to ever hold this position at Meridian Financial Group, and I'd just landed the biggest promotion of my career. 6 figures, corner office, company car, everything I'd worked 12 years to achieve. I pulled out my phone to call Jenna, my wife of 9 years, but it went straight to voicemail. Probably at the gym, I thought. She'd been going a lot lately, getting back in shape after our youngest started kindergarten. I left a message anyway, my voice probably too loud, too excited. "Babe, I got it! The promotion! We need to celebrate tonight. I'm taking you to Marcello's. Love you." The celebration at the office lasted another hour before I finally escaped, loosened my tie, and drove home to our house in Riverside Estates. The subdivision where we'd bought our dream home 3 years ago, the one with the good schools and the neighborhood pool. The American dream, right there in suburban Indianapolis. Jenna's silver Acura sat in the driveway when I pulled up at 4:15 p.m. I grabbed my briefcase and the bottle of Prosecco my boss had given me, practically jogging to the front door. Our kids wouldn't be home from school and aftercare until 5:30, which meant I had time to surprise her properly. The house was quiet when I walked in. Too quiet. "Jenna?" I called out, setting my briefcase down in the foyer. No answer. Her gym bag sat by the stairs, her keys on the kitchen counter next to her phone. That explained why my call went to voicemail. I smiled, thinking maybe I could sneak up on her, make it romantic. The promotion meant we could finally take that trip to Hawaii we'd been postponing. Maybe even look at a bigger house. I heard something then. A sound from upstairs. Muffled, I started climbing the stairs, my dress shoes silent on the carpet runner. "Jenna?" I called again, softer this time. Another sound, coming from our bedroom. The door was closed, which was weird for a Tuesday afternoon. My hand touched the doorknob, and that's when I heard it clearly. A man's voice. Low. Intimate. Followed by my wife's laugh. That particular laugh I hadn't heard in months. The one that used to be just for me. My brain did something strange in that moment. It split into 2 parts. One part knew exactly what was happening behind that door. The other part, the part that had just been promoted, that had a beautiful wife and 2 kids and a mortgage and a 401k. That part insisted there had to be another explanation. I opened the door. Our bedroom. Our bed. Our marriage vows. All of it being destroyed in real time by my wife and a man I'd never seen before. They didn't even notice me at first, too caught up in each other, too lost in whatever this was. The Prosecco bottle slipped from my hand and hit the hardwood floor with a crack that finally got their attention. Jenna's face went white. The man, younger than me, maybe 30, with the kind of physique that came from actually using a gym membership, scrambled for the sheets. "Blake!" Jenna started, her voice strangled. I didn't wait to hear the rest. I turned and walked out of that room, down the stairs, out the front door, and got in my car. My hands shook so badly I could barely get the key in the ignition. This was before push-button starts, before I'd traded up to the luxury car the promotion would have afforded me. I drove. No destination, just drove through our perfect suburb with its perfect houses and perfect lawns and perfect lies. My phone started buzzing. "Jenna." I declined the call. It buzzed again. And again. Finally, I pulled into a Starbucks parking lot and answered. "Blake, please, let me explain." Who is he? My voice sounded calm. Too calm. Like it belonged to someone else. It doesn't mean anything. Who is he? A pause. Then, his name is Tyler. He's my personal trainer. I laughed. Actually laughed. Because of course he was. The cliche was so perfect it almost hurt less. Almost. How long? Blake? How long, Jenna? 3 months. 3 months. While I'd been working 60-hour weeks to get this promotion. While I'd been planning our future. While I'd been coaching our son's soccer team and helping our daughter with her homework and being a husband and a father and doing everything right. I'm sorry, she whispered. I never meant for you to find out like this. You meant for me to find out differently? Or you meant to never get caught? Silence. I'm coming to get some things, I said. Make sure he's gone. I hung up before she could respond. The drive back to the house took 10 minutes. Jenna met me at the door, fully dressed now, her eyes red and puffy. She'd been crying. Good, I thought, and then hated myself for thinking it. The kids, she started, are at aftercare until 5:30, I finished. I know my own children's schedule. I walked past her, up to our bedroom. The bed was made. She'd changed the sheets. Like that would erase what I'd seen. I grabbed a duffel bag from the closet and started throwing in clothes. Where are you going? Jenna asked from the doorway. Hotel. I'll figure out the rest later. Blake, please. Can we talk about this? I stopped packing and looked at her. Really looked at her. The woman I'd met in college. The woman I'd proposed to on a beach in California. The woman who'd held my hand through 2 difficult pregnancies. The woman I thought I knew. What's there to talk about, Jenna? You made your choice. The Hampton Inn off I-465 smelled like industrial carpet cleaner and someone else's problems. I sat on the edge of the bed at 11:47 p.m., still wearing my promotion suit, staring at my phone. 43 missed calls from Jenna. 27 text messages I hadn't read. I'd called my brother David around 8. He lived in Columbus, worked construction, had been divorced twice. If anyone would know what to do, it was him. Get a lawyer, he'd said. Tomorrow, first thing. Don't talk to her, don't negotiate, don't try to work it out yet. Just get representation. The kids will be fine, but you need to protect yourself first. Document everything. When did you find out? What time? Write it all down tonight while it's fresh. So I did. Opened my laptop and typed out every detail. The timestamps, the gym bag in the foyer, the sounds from upstairs, the phone call at Starbucks. All of it, clinical and precise, like one of the quarterly reports I used to stay late perfecting. Used to, past tense. Because that version of my life, the one where I worked 60-hour weeks to provide for my family, to build something, to give Jenna and the kids everything, that life ended at 4:17 p.m. I sent the document to myself at 3 different email addresses, then saved it to the cloud. David's voice in my head. Document everything. My phone buzzed. Another text from Jenna. This time I looked. Please, Blake, we need to talk about the kids. They're asking where you are. I told them you had a work trip. Please just tell me where you're staying so I know you're safe. I typed back, I'm fine. Tell them I'll call tomorrow after school. Don't tell them anything else. 3 dots appeared immediately. Disappeared. Appeared again. Can we please just talk? Not tonight. I turned off the phone. The law office of Patricia Brennan occupied the 3rd floor of a renovated building in Carmel, all exposed brick and modern furniture that cost more than my first car. I'd found her through a partner at work, quietly, over coffee at 7 a.m., before anyone else arrived. Divorce attorney, Tom had said. Best in Indianapolis. Expensive, but she doesn't mess around. She didn't. Patricia Brennan was maybe 55, gray hair cut sharp, wearing a suit that probably cost what I made in a week before the promotion. She listened to my story without interrupting, taking notes on a yellow legal pad. When I finished, she set down her pen. "You did everything right," she said. Leaving immediately, not engaging, documenting the timeline. A lot of people in your position make it worse by confronting the affair partner or having a big blowout that gets physical. You stayed smart. Doesn't feel smart? Smart rarely does. She flipped back through her notes. Indiana is a no-fault divorce state, which means the affair doesn't technically matter for the dissolution itself. But it absolutely matters for custody and asset division. A judge will consider it when determining what's in the children's best interest. I want them with me. Full custody? I stopped. Thought about my son's soccer games, my daughter's kindergarten pickup. Jenna had been the one handling all of that while I worked late. I want to be their primary parent. I don't want them in that house with her, and I don't want them around him. Patricia nodded. Has Tyler been around your children? I don't know. Find out. If she's been bringing her affair partner around your kids, that strengthens your case considerably. She made another note. What's your work schedule like? It was 60 hours a week, but I just got promoted to regional director. I have more control over my time now. I can make it work. You'll need to. Judges care about who's been the primary caregiver historically, but they also care about who can be the primary caregiver going forward. If you're serious about this, you need to be prepared to restructure your entire life. I thought about the promotion, the corner office, the team I'd built, everything I'd worked 12 years to achieve. Then I thought about coming home at 4:15 p.m. on a random Tuesday and finding my wife in bed with her trainer. I'm serious, I said. I called the kids at 3:30 p.m. from the parking lot of their school. Jenna had them on Tuesdays and Thursdays for soccer and gymnastics. I'd always handled Mondays and Wednesdays for piano and homework. We'd had a system, a schedule, a life that worked. My daughter answered on the second ring. Daddy. Hey, sweetheart. How was school? Good. We learned about butterflies. Mrs. Palmer said I did the best drawing. Her voice dropped to a whisper. Where are you? Mommy said you had a work trip, but you didn't say goodbye. The lie sat in my throat like broken glass. I had to leave really fast for something important, but I'm gonna see you soon, okay? When? Really soon. Can you put your brother on? My son was 9, old enough to know something was wrong. Dad? What's going on? Nothing for you to worry about, buddy. I just wanted to check in. How was practice yesterday? Fine. A pause. Are you and Mom fighting? God, he was smart. Too smart. Your mom and I have some grown-up stuff to figure out, I said carefully. But it has nothing to do with you and your sister. We both love you so much. That's never going to change. That's what Aunt Lisa said when she got divorced. My stomach dropped. Who said anything about divorce? Nobody, but Mom's been crying a lot. His voice went quiet. And you're not here. I closed my eyes. I'm gonna see you this weekend, okay? We'll do something fun. Just us 3. Okay. I love you, bud. Love you too. After we hung up, I sat in the parking lot and watched other parents pick up their kids. Normal families, normal problems. A mom arguing with her son about homework. A dad checking his phone while his daughter talked at him about her day. 24 hours ago, that was me. My phone rang. Jenna. I almost didn't answer, but we had to talk eventually. What? Blake, please. We need to figure out what we're telling the kids. You already told them I'm on a work trip. I didn't know what else to say. Her voice cracked. They keep asking questions. Your son thinks we're getting divorced. We are. Silence. Blake? I contacted a lawyer, Patricia Brennan. You should get one too. I don't want a lawyer. I want my husband. She was crying now. This was a mistake, a stupid mistake, and I know I can't take it back, but we have 9 years together. We have children. We have a life. Had, I said. Past tense. Don't do this. Please. We can go to counseling. We can work through this. You slept with him in our bed, Jenna. In our house. While I was at work. My voice stayed flat, controlled. I'd learned that from 12 years of client meetings. Never let them see you break. For 3 months, that's not a mistake. That's a choice you made 90 times. I know. God, I know, and I hate myself for it, but nothing. I'll have my lawyer contact you about custody arrangements. Don't bring Tyler around my kids. I wouldn't. I would never. You already did a lot of things I thought you'd never do. I hung up. That night, back at the Hampton Inn, I opened my laptop and started making lists. Things I needed to do, things I needed to know, things I needed to change. Find apartment near kids' school. Research custody laws in Indiana. Talk to HR about FMLA if needed. Get copies of all financial records. Close joint credit cards. Change beneficiaries on insurance. Figure out how to coach soccer. The list grew longer. Each item was a piece of my old life I had to dismantle and rebuild. Each one was something I'd never imagined having to do. At 11:30 p.m., my phone buzzed with an email. Patricia Brennan. Blake. Did some preliminary research. Indiana custody law favors joint legal custody, but we can argue for primary physical custody based on several factors. Need you to document. 1. Your historical involvement in children's daily care. 2. Any evidence of affair partner's contact with children. 3. Your ability to maintain stable home environment. Call my office tomorrow to schedule follow-up. PB. I read it 3 times, then started a new document. Historical involvement in children's daily care. Monday nights. Piano lessons with both kids, 6 to 7 p.m. Wednesday nights. Homework supervision, 4-6 p.m. weekend mornings. Breakfast routine, usually pancakes. The words blurred. I kept typing. This was my life now. Documentation and lawyers and hotel rooms and lists. This was what happened when everything you built turned out to be built on sand. My phone buzzed again. A text from David. How you holding up? I'm fine, I typed back. Liar. But okay, call if you need anything. I set down the phone and went back to my list. There was too much to do to fall apart. That could wait. The meeting with Patricia was scheduled for 9 a.m. Wednesday. I showed up at 8:45 with 2 file folders, one physical, one digital on a thumb drive, and a yellow legal pad covered in notes I'd made at the hotel until 2 a.m. Her office was in one of those renovated warehouses in Fountain Square, all exposed brick and industrial lighting. The kind of place that charged premium rates and delivered premium results. The receptionist offered coffee. I accepted. Black, no sugar. Patricia appeared at 8:52, extending her hand. Blake, come on back. Her office had floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Virginia Avenue. She gestured to a chair across from her desk and settled into her own, pulling out her own legal pad. Let's start with what you've gathered, she said. I handed her the physical folder first. Timeline of the affair. 3 months. based on text messages. Screenshots of conversations between Jenna and Tyler. Credit card statements showing charges at hotels, the Omni, the Conrad, twice at some boutique place in Carmel, gym membership records showing when she signed up with him as her trainer. Patricia flipped through the pages, her expression neutral. She made occasional notes. The thumb drive has the full text message history, I continued. Photos she sent him. Photos he sent her. I pulled everything from the cloud backup before she could delete it. Good. Patricia set the folder aside. What about finances? Joint checking, joint savings. I opened a separate account yesterday at a different bank and deposited my last paycheck there. Our joint accounts have about $43,000 combined. The house has maybe $90,000 in equity. My 401k is worth about $210,000. Hers is around $60,000, she wrote quickly. Debts? Mortgage. 2 car payments. Mine's almost paid off. Hers has 3 years left. No credit card debt. We paid those off last year. Children's schedule? I'd prepared for this. Son has soccer practice Tuesdays and Thursdays, games on Saturdays. He's in 4th grade at Riverside Elementary. Daughter's in kindergarten, same school. Jenna does morning drop-off at 7:45. I usually can't because I'm at work by 7:30. Afternoon pickup is 3:15. Jenna's been handling that because her schedule is flexible. Her employment? She works part-time as a dental hygienist. 3 days a week, usually Monday, Wednesday, Friday. She's been there for 6 years, took maternity leave twice, came back both times. Patricia looked up. How flexible is your work schedule? The question I'd been dreading. Not very. I just made regional director. The promotion came with expectations, client meetings, team management, strategy sessions. I've been doing 60-hour weeks for the past 2 years to earn it. Can you change that? I don't know, I said honestly. Maybe. The company has work-from-home options for some positions, but mine isn't typically one of them. I could ask. She made another note. Here's the reality, Blake. Indiana is generally favorable to joint custody arrangements. Unless we can prove Jenna is an unfit mother, and an affair doesn't meet that standard, you're looking at some version of shared parenting time. My jaw tightened. She brought her boyfriend into our house, around our kids. Do you have proof of that? Not yet. Then we need it. Patricia leaned forward. The text messages are good. The financial records are excellent. But if you want primary custody, we need to demonstrate either that she's unfit or that you're the better primary caregiver. The affair helps with the divorce itself. Indiana allows fault-based divorce, and adultery qualifies. But for custody, we need more. Like what? Like evidence Tyler has been around your children. Like documentation that Jenna has been neglecting parental responsibilities. Like proof you can restructure your work life to be present for school pickups, homework, activities. She paused. How's your relationship with the kids? Good. Great. I coach my son's soccer team when I can make it. I read to my daughter every night I'm home before bedtime. We do pancakes on Sunday mornings. When you can make it, Patricia repeated. How often is that? The words stung because I knew the answer. Maybe half the practices. I miss some games because of work travel. And bedtime? 3-4 nights a week. She didn't say anything, just let the silence hang there. I know what you're thinking, I said. That I've been an absent father. That Jenna's been doing the heavy lifting. I'm not thinking anything, Patricia said evenly. I'm telling you what a judge will think. You want primary custody? You need to show you're willing and able to be the primary parent. That means restructuring your career, maybe stepping back from some responsibilities, definitely being present for school functions, medical appointments, daily routines. I stared out the window at the morning traffic on Virginia Avenue. A bus rolled past, belching exhaust. I can do that, I said. Can you? Or will you resent it? Because kids pick up on that, and so do judges. I won't resent it. This promotion, I stopped, recalibrating. I worked 12 years for this job, but my kids didn't ask for their mother to blow up our family. They need stability. They need a parent who's actually there. Patricia studied me for a long moment. Okay, here's what we do. You're going to start documenting everything. Every interaction with Jenna. Every time you're with the kids. Keep a journal, date, time, activity, take photos, save receipts. If she misses a school event, note it. If she's late for pickup, note it. If Tyler shows up anywhere near your children, document everything. Got it. Second, you're going to have a conversation with your boss about restructuring your role. See what's possible. Remote work, flexible hours, whatever you can negotiate. We need to show the court you're serious about being present. When? Today, this week at the latest. She flipped to a new page. Third, we're going to file for divorce immediately. Adultery as grounds. We'll request temporary custody arrangements and temporary financial orders. You'll stay in the marital home. Don't move out. That can hurt your case. Jenna can stay with family or find her own place. She'll fight that. Let her. She's the one who had the affair. Patricia's expression hardened slightly. Indiana law allows us to request that the court award you exclusive use of the home during the divorce proceedings, especially given the adultery. We'll file for that. I nodded, feeling something shift in my chest. Not quite hope, more like grim determination. Fourth, Patricia continued, you're going to get the kids into counseling. Find a family therapist who specializes in divorce. It's good for them, and it shows the court you're prioritizing their emotional well-being. Okay. Fifth, we need to discuss your goals. What does your ideal outcome look like? I'd thought about this during the sleepless hours at the Hampton Inn. Primary physical custody. She can have visitation. I'm not trying to keep her from the kids. But I want them living with me. I want to be the one making day-to-day decisions about school, activities, healthcare. And financially? I'll pay child support if that's what it takes. I want the house. We bought it for the kids, for the school district. I don't want them uprooted. I paused. I want her to understand there are consequences. Real ones. Patricia made notes. All right, I'll draft the petition today. We'll file tomorrow. You should expect her to be served by Friday. That fast? You hired me to move quickly. I'm moving quickly. She looked up. One more thing. From this point forward, all communication with Jenna goes through me or is documented. If she calls, let it go to voicemail. If she texts, screenshot it. If she wants to talk about the kids, do it in writing, email or text only. What if there's an emergency? Then she can call 911 or call me. Patricia's expression softened slightly. I know this feels extreme, but you need to protect yourself. Anything you say to her can and will be used against you in court. People get emotional during divorce. They say things they don't mean. Those things end up in depositions. My phone buzzed in my pocket. I ignored it. Do you have questions? Patricia asked. How long will this take? Divorce in Indiana requires a 60-day waiting period minimum. With contested custody, figure 6 months to a year. Maybe longer if she really fights. A year. 12 months of this limbo. And your fee? 5,000 retainer. 250 an hour after that. If we go to trial, expect the total to run between 20 and 40,000. Maybe more if it gets ugly. I thought of the 43,000 in joint accounts, the savings we'd built for the kids' college funds, the emergency fund. Bill me, I said. Patricia stood, extending her hand again. I'll call you this afternoon with the draft petition. Review it carefully. Once we file, there's no going back. I shook her hand and left. The call from my mother came Thursday morning while I was reviewing the quarterly forecasts in my new office. Corner view. Windows on two sides. 3 days ago, this would have meant everything. Blake, honey, Jenna called me. I set down my pen. Of course she did. She's very upset. She says you won't talk to her, that you've moved out, that… Mom. I kept my voice level. Did she tell you why? A pause. She said there was a misunderstanding, that she made a terrible mistake, but I came home early and found her in bed with another man. In our bed. There's no misunderstanding. The silence stretched long enough that I checked if the call had dropped. Oh, Blake. My mother's voice cracked. Oh, honey, I'm so sorry. Yeah, me too. What do you need? Your father and I can… I need you not to talk to Jenna about this, about anything. She's going to try to use you to get to me. Don't let her. Another pause. My mother had always liked Jenna. They'd gone to lunch together, shopped for the kids' clothes, traded recipes. 9 years of a relationship that was now collateral damage. Okay, she said quietly. Okay. But Blake, the children, are my priority. Which is why I'm doing this the right way. I've got a lawyer. We're handling custody properly. Does Jenna know that? She will, tomorrow. After I hung up, I stared at the financial projections on my screen without seeing them. Patricia had warned me about this. Jenna would reach out to anyone who might influence me. My parents, our mutual friends. Her sister would probably call next. My phone buzzed. Text from Patricia. Process server confirmed for tomorrow. 3 p.m. at your residence. Make sure you're not there. I typed back, I'll be at the office. The truth was, I'd been at the office almost constantly since Tuesday, sleeping at the Hampton Inn, showering there, then coming in early and staying late. My team probably thought I was just eager to prove myself in the new role. Only my boss, Greg Paulson, knew something was wrong. I'd told him Wednesday that I was dealing with a personal situation and might need some flexibility in the coming weeks. Whatever you need, he'd said, with the kind of careful neutrality that meant he wouldn't ask questions but had probably guessed the general shape of it. Divorce wasn't exactly rare in our industry. What I hadn't told him was that I was restructuring my entire approach to the job. The promotion came with expectations, travel, client dinners, weekend strategy sessions. All the things that had helped me climb the ladder were now liabilities. Patricia had been clear. If I wanted primary custody, I needed to demonstrate I could be the stable, present parent. I'd spent Wednesday night at the Hampton Inn creating a new schedule, delegating the travel to my senior team members, blocking out mornings and evenings as non-negotiable family time, identifying which responsibilities could be done remotely. It was possible. Difficult, but possible. The real question was whether Greg would accept it. I found him in his office at 2:30, reviewing something on his tablet. Got a minute? He looked up, gestured to the chair across from his desk. Sure, close the door. I did, then sat down and handed him the printed schedule I'd prepared. I need to make some changes to how I'm approaching the role. Greg scanned the document, his expression unreadable. He was 52, gray at the temples, with the kind of weathered competence that came from 30 years in financial services. He'd been through his own divorce a decade ago. "You're cutting back on travel," he said, redistributing it. "Kevin and Amanda can handle the West Coast clients. I'll take the Midwest accounts that don't require overnight trips. The Atlanta conference in October? I'll send Kevin. He's ready for that visibility." Greg set down the schedule. "This is about custody." "Yeah? Primary custody?" "That's the goal." He leaned back in his chair, studying me. "You know I went through this. Fought for joint custody of my daughter. Spent $40,000 in legal fees and ended up with every other weekend anyway." "I know." "Judge told me I was a great father, very involved, but my work schedule made primary custody impractical. This was after I'd already cut back my hours, turned down a promotion, the whole thing." I'd heard this story before, in pieces over the years. Greg's daughter was in college now. He saw her on holidays. "I'm not asking for your approval," I said. "I'm telling you what I need to do. If that doesn't work with the regional director position." "I didn't say that." Greg picked up the schedule again. "This could actually work. You'd be more available for the local clients, and honestly, Kevin needs the development opportunities. So does Amanda." The tension in my shoulders eased slightly. "But Blake, you need to understand something." Greg's voice was serious now. "You can do everything right. Restructure your whole life. Be father of the year. And the judge might still give her joint custody. Might still say the kids need their mother. The system doesn't always reward what you're doing." "I know. And you're doing it anyway." "I don't have a choice. Those are my kids." Greg nodded slowly. "Okay, we'll make it work. But you need to deliver results. This restructure only works if your numbers stay strong." "They will." "Good." He handed back the schedule. "When does she get served?" "Tomorrow afternoon." "You might want to take a personal day on Monday. Things tend to get ugly after the papers are delivered." I wasn't at the house when the process server arrived Friday at 3 p.m., but I got Jenna's call at 3:47. I was in a meeting with the compliance team. I let it go to voicemail. She called again at 3:52, then 4:03, then 4:15. At 4:30, my phone buzzed with a text. "You're really doing this? You won't even talk to me?" Then, "This is insane, Blake. We can work this out." Then, "What about the kids? You're going to put them through a divorce over one mistake?" I turned off my phone. Patricia had prepared me for this too. "She's going to cycle through anger, bargaining, and desperation," she'd said. "Don't engage. Anything you say can and will be used against you. All communication goes through attorneys now." At 6, I picked up my son from soccer practice. He climbed into the car sweaty and grass-stained, his cleats leaving dirt on the floor mat. "Mom was crying when I left," he said. I pulled out of the parking lot, keeping my eyes on the road. "I know, buddy. Things are hard right now." "Are you getting divorced?" The question hit like a physical blow. He was 9. Too young for this and also old enough to understand exactly what was happening. "Yeah," I said. "We are." "Because of the fighting?" "Because your mom and I can't be married anymore. But that doesn't change anything about how much we both love you and your sister. You understand that?" He was quiet for a long moment, staring out the window at the passing houses. Our neighborhood. The place we'd chosen because of the good schools and the pool and the other families with kids the same age. "Are we going to move?" he asked. "I don't know yet." Maybe. But wherever we are, you're going to be okay. I promise you that. It was a promise I wasn't sure I could keep, but I said it anyway. Because what else could I say? When we got home, back to the house I was still paying the mortgage on but no longer living in, Jenna's car was in the driveway. I'd known it would be. I'd timed the pickup so the kids would be with me when I arrived. She came out the front door as my son grabbed his backpack. Her eyes were red, her face blotchy. She'd been crying for hours. "Blake, please, can we just talk for 5 minutes?" "No." I opened the back door for my daughter, who'd been waiting with Jenna. She ran to me and I picked her up, felt her small arms around my neck. "Daddy, are you staying for dinner?" "Not tonight, sweetheart." Jenna stepped closer. "Blake, this is ridiculous. You can't just—" "All communication goes through our attorneys. You have yours yet?" Her face crumpled. "I don't want an attorney. I want my husband." "You should have thought of that before you slept with Tyler." I set my daughter down, handed her to my son. "Go inside, guys. I'll see you this weekend." They went, reluctantly, looking back at us. At their mother crying and their father standing rigid and separate. This was the image they'd remember, the moment everything changed. When the door closed behind them, Jenna turned on me. "You're really going to do this? Destroy our family over one mistake?" "You destroyed our family. I'm just dealing with the aftermath." It meant nothing. He meant nothing. It was just, I was lonely and you were always working and— "Stop." I was already walking back to my car. "I don't want to hear it." "Blake, please." I got in, started the engine. Through the windshield I could see her standing in the driveway of our dream house, crying. Part of me, some stupid, broken part, wanted to comfort her. I backed out and drove away instead. The email from Patricia Brennan arrived at 9:47 a.m. on Monday, 12 days after I discovered Jenna with Tyler. "Blake, need to discuss discovery responses. Can you meet at 2 p.m. today? Also received something unusual from opposing counsel. Will explain in person. PB." I stared at the words opposing counsel on my laptop screen. So Jenna had finally hired an attorney. I'd been waiting for that shoe to drop. I confirmed the meeting and tried to focus on the quarterly reports spread across my desk. The corner office still felt surreal. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking downtown Indianapolis, enough space for a conference table and a sitting area. Everything I'd worked toward for 12 years. I'd been in it for exactly 9 days. My phone buzzed. Text from David. "How you holding up?" "Fine," I typed back. "Meeting with attorney this afternoon." "Want me to drive down?" "No, I'm good." I wasn't good. I was surviving on 4 hours of sleep and gas station coffee, living out of a suitcase at the Hampton Inn, and spending every non-working moment documenting everything for the custody battle. But I didn't need my brother watching me fall apart. At 1:55 p.m., I walked into Patricia's office in the Keystone Crossing complex. She was already waiting, a thick folder on her desk. "Blake, sit." I sat. She opened the folder without preamble. Jenna hired Rachel Simmons. Good attorney, been practicing family law for 15 years. Smart, aggressive, but fair. Okay. Rachel filed Jenna's response to the petition on Friday. She's contesting the adultery grounds, not denying the affair, but arguing it shouldn't affect custody or property division. I'd expected that. And she's also filed a counter-petition requesting primary physical custody of both children. My chest tightened. On what grounds? That Jenna has been the primary caregiver throughout the marriage. That she's maintained a stable work schedule while you worked 60-plus hours weekly. that the children's routine has been built around her availability. Patricia slid a document across the desk. It's standard positioning. She's establishing the status quo argument. I scanned the filing. The words felt like punches. Mr. Thompson's career demands have necessitated his absence from daily childcare routines. Mrs. Thompson has attended all parent-teacher conferences, medical appointments, and school events. The children have relied on their mother for homework assistance, meal preparation, and emotional support. This is bullshit, I said. I work those hours to provide for them. For the house she wanted, the neighborhood with good schools. I know, but the court doesn't care about intentions. They care about patterns. Patricia leaned forward. Here's the reality, Blake. You restructured your work schedule 2 weeks ago. That's good, but it's also 2 weeks versus 9 years. Jenna's attorney will argue you can't sustain it, that you're only doing it for the divorce, and that once the custody agreement is finalized, you'll revert to your previous pattern. That's not true. Prove it. She wasn't being cruel, just direct. You need to maintain this schedule for months, not weeks. Show up to every school event, every doctor's appointment. Build a new pattern the court can see. I nodded slowly. What else? Patricia pulled out another document. This is the unusual thing I mentioned. Rachel Simmons included a request for you to undergo a psychological evaluation. What? She's arguing that your reaction to the discovery of the affair, specifically the speed and severity of your response, indicates potential emotional instability that could affect your parenting. I felt my face flush. I documented evidence and filed for divorce. That's not unstable. That's rational. Agreed, and I'll fight the request. But Blake, she paused, choosing her words carefully. Have you considered talking to someone? A therapist, not for the evaluation, but for you? I'm fine. You're living in a hotel, working 12-hour days and fighting for custody of your children while processing a massive betrayal. You're not fine. Nobody would be fine. I didn't respond. Patricia sighed. It's not weakness to get help. And honestly, if you're proactive about it, if you can show the court you're addressing the emotional impact in a healthy way, it strengthens your position, shows stability and self-awareness. I'll think about it. Do that. She closed the folder. One more thing. Discovery phase begins next week. That means both sides exchange financial records, communications, witness lists. Jenna's attorney will go through everything. Your work emails, your finances, your schedule. They're looking for anything that undermines your custody request. There's nothing to find. Good. Keep it that way. No dating, no excessive drinking, no erratic behavior. Your life needs to be an open book that shows you're a stable, committed parent. I left her office at 3:30 p.m. with a stack of documents and a growing sense that I was fighting a war on multiple fronts. The divorce, the custody battle, the restructured career, the hotel room existence. My phone rang as I reached my car. Unknown number. Blake Thompson. Mr. Thompson, this is Diane Foster from Riverside Elementary. I'm calling about your daughter. My heart stopped. Is she okay? She's fine physically, but there was an incident at lunch today. She became very upset, crying, and when her teacher asked what was wrong, she said she wanted to go home to see her daddy but didn't know where you lived anymore. I closed my eyes. I'll be right there. That's not necessary. She's calmed down now and is back in class. But I wanted to inform you, and also to mention that we have counseling services available for students dealing with family transitions. Yes, whatever she needs, sign her up. I'll have the counselor reach out to both you and Mrs. Thompson to coordinate. I sat in my car after the call ended, gripping the steering wheel. My daughter was 6 years old. 6. And she didn't know where I lived because I was in a goddamn hotel room. The text from Jenna arrived 10 minutes later. The school called me too. This is what you wanted? Our daughter crying at lunch because her father abandoned her? I stared at the message. Abandoned her. The words were designed to wound, and they succeeded. I didn't respond. Patricia had been clear. All communication through attorneys. But I saved the screenshot. If Jenna wanted to play the victim, I'd document that too. At 5:20 p.m., I picked up both kids from the after-school program. My son climbed into the back seat silently, but my daughter threw her arms around my neck. Daddy, are you coming home? Not to the house, sweetheart, but I'm always your daddy, and I'm always here for you. But where do you sleep? At a hotel right now. But I'm looking for a new place and you'll have your own room there, I promise. She pulled back, her face scrunched in confusion. Why can't you sleep at home? My son spoke up from the back seat. Because Mom messed up. I told you that. Buddy, I started. It's true. Tyler was at the house again yesterday. I saw his car. Everything stopped. What? I kept my voice level, but my hands tightened on the steering wheel. After school, his stupid red Mustang was in the driveway when the bus dropped me off. Tyler had been at my house, around my children. Was he inside? I asked carefully. I don't know. I went to my room, but I heard him leave around dinner time. I pulled out my phone and texted Patricia. Need to talk, urgent. Her response came immediately. Can you come back to the office? I looked at my kids in the rearview mirror. My daughter was playing with her backpack straps. My son was staring out the window, his jaw set in an expression that looked too old for 9 years. Change of plans, I said. We're going to get pizza, and then I need to stop by my attorney's office for a few minutes. You guys can wait in the conference room. They have a TV. Can we get breadsticks? My daughter asked. Sure, sweetheart. Whatever you want. At 7:15 p.m., with both kids settled in Patricia's conference room with pizza and a Disney movie, I sat across from her desk again. Tyler was at the house, I said. Yesterday. My son saw his car. Patricia's expression hardened. How long was he there? Several hours, apparently. Arrived sometime after school, left around dinner. She was already taking notes. This changes things. We can file an emergency motion to restrict Jenna's ability to have him around the children during the divorce proceedings. Will it work? It should. Courts take a dim view of introducing romantic partners to children during active custody disputes, especially when the relationship was the cause of the marriage breakdown. She looked up. I'll draft the motion tonight and file first thing tomorrow. But Blake, I need you to talk to your son. Get details. Times. How many times he's seen Tyler, whether Tyler has interacted with the children. Can you do that without leading him or putting words in his mouth? Yes? Good. Record the conversation if Indiana's a one-party consent state. She paused. It is. Record it on your phone, just audio. Keep it factual. Don't badmouth Jenna or Tyler. Just ask what he's observed. I nodded, feeling something shift in my chest. Not hope, exactly. But maybe leverage. One more thing, Patricia said. Start looking for an apartment. Somewhere in the school district, 2 bedrooms minimum. You need to show the court you're establishing a stable home environment for the children, not warehousing yourself in a hotel. I'm on it. I gathered my kids at 8 p.m. and drove them back to Riverside Estates. The house looked exactly the same. The house I was still paying for? The house I couldn't enter? Jenna opened the door before we reached it. "You're late," she said. "Their bedtime is 8. "We got pizza," my daughter announced, "and breadsticks." Jenna's eyes met mine over our daughter's head. I saw something there. Guilt, maybe, or defiance. Hard to tell anymore. "Say goodnight to your dad," she said. I hugged them both, holding on maybe a second too long. As I walked back to my car, I heard my son's voice from the doorway. "Mom, is Tyler coming over again?" I didn't hear her response. I was already pulling out my phone, opening the voice recorder app. Tomorrow, I'd have that conversation with my son. Tonight, I had apartment listings to search and a hotel room to return to. The war wasn't over. It was just beginning. The emergency motion hearing was scheduled for Thursday morning, 9 days after I'd discovered Jenna in our bed. 9 days of hotel rooms and hurried drop-offs and my daughter asking when I was coming home. Patricia had filed the motion on Monday. Jenna's attorney, Rachel Simmons, had 48 hours to respond. Then we'd all stand before a judge and argue about whether my wife's boyfriend should be allowed around my children. The absurdity of it hit me every time I thought about it too hard. Wednesday afternoon, I was reviewing quarterly reports in my office when Patricia called. Rachel filed her response, she said. "You're going to want to sit down." "I'm already sitting." "Then brace yourself." I heard papers rustling. She's arguing that Tyler has been a positive male role model for the children during a difficult transition period, that he's helped maintain stability in the home while you've been, and I quote, "absent and emotionally volatile." My hand tightened on the phone. "He's been sleeping with their mother for 3 months. I know that. You know that. But Rachel's spinning it as though Tyler stepped in to help with the kids after you abandoned the family home. More rustling. She's also submitted an affidavit from Jenna claiming Tyler has never been inappropriate around the children, that he's been helpful with homework and bedtime routines, and that removing him from their lives would cause additional trauma. I stood up and walked to the window. 17 floors below, people moved through their normal Wednesday afternoons. Going to lunch. Running errands. Not listening to their attorney explain how their wife's affair partner was being positioned as Father of the Year. "What about my son's statement?" I asked. "Tyler was there for hours, after school, when the kids were home alone with him." "We'll present that tomorrow." "But Blake, you need to understand. Judges are cautious about restricting who can be in a parent's home. Unless we can prove Tyler poses a direct threat to the children's safety, the judge might not grant the restriction." "So what? He just gets to play dad while I'm living in a hotel?" "That's what we're fighting against tomorrow." Patricia's voice sharpened. "Which is why I need you calm and composed in that courtroom. Rachel's going to paint you as unstable. Don't prove her right." I pressed my forehead against the glass. "What time tomorrow?" 9 a.m. Wear the charcoal suit, white shirt, conservative tie. No wedding ring. I'd already taken it off. It was in the glove compartment of my car, next to the garage door opener I'd removed from the visor. "One more thing," Patricia said. "I got a call from a meteorologist named Vanessa Williams. Wait, scratch that. Vanessa Brooks. She says she knows you through work connections and has information about Jenna that might be relevant to the custody case." "I don't know anyone named Vanessa Brooks." "She said she works at Channel 7 News, that she and Jenna used to be friends." I searched my memory. Jenna had mentioned a friend from her book club who worked in weather forecasting. They'd stopped hanging out around the same time the affair started. "What kind of information?" "She wouldn't say over the phone, just that it concerns Jenna's judgment and truthfulness. Patricia paused. I'm meeting her tonight at 7. You should be there. Vanessa Brooks was younger than I'd expected, maybe 32, with dark hair pulled back in a severe bun. We met at a Panera Bread on the north side, far from our neighborhood. She was already seated in a corner booth when Patricia and I arrived, a manila folder on the table in front of her. Thank you for meeting me, she said as we sat down. Her hands were wrapped around a coffee cup, knuckles white. I wasn't sure I should get involved, but after what Jenna did to me, I figured she deserves whatever's coming. Patricia pulled out a legal pad. What did she do? Vanessa glanced around the restaurant, then leaned forward. About 4 months ago, Jenna started asking me questions about my job. How weather forecasting works, how we make predictions, what kind of accuracy we're held to. I thought she was just being friendly, making conversation. She opened the folder and pulled out several printed screenshots. Then she started asking more specific questions. How hard would it be to falsify a forecast? What would happen if someone deliberately predicted severe weather that didn't materialize? Could a meteorologist lose their license? I looked at Patricia. She was writing notes, her expression neutral. I thought it was weird, but Jenna can be persistent when she wants something. She kept pressing, saying she was researching for a novel she wanted to write. Vanessa's laugh was bitter. I actually believed her. I even gave her examples of weather fraud cases I'd heard about. She pushed the screenshots across the table. They showed text message conversations between Jenna and someone listed as T in her contacts. I got these from Jenna's phone about 3 weeks ago, before we stopped being friends. She'd left it on my kitchen counter when she went to the bathroom. I saw Tyler's name pop up and I got curious. Vanessa tapped one of the messages. Read this one. The text was dated January 15th, about 6 weeks ago. Did you ask your weather friend about the forecast thing? Jenna. Yes. She said it's technically possible but risky. They have verification systems. T. But could you do it if you worked there? Jenna. Probably. She explained the whole process. Why? T. Just thinking about opportunities? Talk later. I looked up at Vanessa. What does this mean? Keep reading. The next screenshot was from January 22nd. Jenna. I applied for the part-time position at Channel 7. Used you as a reference. Hope that's okay. Perfect. When do you interview? Jenna. Friday. They're desperate for someone to cover weekends. My stomach dropped. Jenna got a job at the weather station? She started 3 weeks ago, Vanessa said. Weekend meteorologist. She told me she wanted to try something new. That dental hygiene was getting boring. I helped her get hired. The bitterness in her voice deepened. I trained her myself. Patricia was writing faster now. And you think she took this job for fraudulent purposes? I think she took it because Tyler told her to. Vanessa pulled out more screenshots. Look at this conversation from last week. How much advance notice for weekend forecasts? Jenna. We record Friday afternoon for Saturday, Sunday. Goes live Friday night. So you could predict snow for Sunday and nobody would verify until it actually doesn't snow? Jenna. Technically, yes, but I'd get fired immediately after. What if you only did it once? Big snow prediction, everyone panics, then you quit before they investigate? Jenna. Why would I do that? Because I'd make it worth your while. I'm talking serious money. I read the message 3 times. Tyler wants her to fake a weather forecast? Not just fake it, weaponize it. Vanessa pulled out a printed web page. Tyler Brennan owns two companies, Brennan's Fitness Solutions and Midwest Weather Services. The fitness thing is just his side business. His real money comes from snow removal and emergency weather preparation. Patricia took the printout. How much money? Last year, almost $2 million in revenue. But that's in a normal winter. If there's a major snow event, the kind that causes panic buying and emergency contracts, he can make that in a single weekend. Vanessa's expression hardened. And if a trusted meteorologist predicts that major snow event, even if it doesn't happen, Tyler's already collected the money by the time anyone realizes the forecast was wrong. The pieces were falling into place, each one more disturbing than the last. You think Jenna took the meteorologist job to help Tyler commit fraud, Patricia said. I think she's already done it once. Vanessa pulled out a final document. 2 weekends ago, Jenna predicted 8 to 12 inches of snow for Sunday, February 16th. Severe weather warning, the whole thing. Tyler's company got emergency contracts from 3 shopping centers, 2 school districts, and the city's public works department. He pre-charged them for equipment, salt, labor. Let me guess, I said. It didn't snow. We got a dusting, maybe half an inch. Vanessa's jaw tightened. Jenna claimed she misread the atmospheric models, said she was still learning the equipment. Our station manager reprimanded her, but didn't fire her because we're short-staffed. Patricia was already on her phone, typing notes. How much did Tyler make from that fake forecast? Based on the contracts I found, probably $300,000. And nobody's asking for refunds because the contracts were for emergency preparation services, not actual snow removal. He provided the services, showed up with equipment, spread some salt. Doesn't matter that the emergency never materialized. I thought about my children, about Tyler in our house, helping with homework, putting them to bed. About Jenna learning to manipulate weather forecasts so her boyfriend could defraud the city. Why are you telling us this? I asked. Vanessa met my eyes. Because Jenna threw me under the bus. When the station manager questioned the forecast, she told him I was the one who trained her wrong, that I'd been negligent in teaching her the verification protocols. Her voice cracked slightly. I've worked in meteorology for 8 years. I've built a reputation. And she was willing to destroy it to cover for her boyfriend's scam. Patricia closed her legal pad. Would you be willing to testify to this? In court? I'll do better than that. Vanessa pulled out a USB drive. I copied every text message, every email, every piece of documentation I could find. Forecast logs, contract records, everything. And I filed a complaint with the National Weather Service this morning. She pushed the drive across the table. Jenna wants to play meteorologist? Let's see how she likes a federal fraud investigation. The emergency hearing Thursday morning lasted 90 minutes. Patricia presented my son's testimony about Tyler's presence in the house. Rachel Simmons argued that Tyler was a stabilizing influence during a difficult transition. Then Patricia handed the judge Vanessa Brooks's evidence. The courtroom went very quiet as Judge Angela Martinez reviewed the text messages, the contract records, the forecast manipulation timeline. Rachel Simmons's face went pale. Jenna, sitting at the defendant's table, looked like she might be sick. Mrs. Thompson, Judge Martinez said finally, her voice cold. Are you currently under investigation by the National Weather Service? Jenna's attorney whispered something to her. Jenna nodded, barely. Answer verbally for the record, the judge said. Yes, Your Honor. And is it true that you obtained employment as a meteorologist for the purpose of assisting Tyler Brennan in defrauding municipal contracts? I didn't know it was fraud. Tyler said it was just business strategy. Judge Martinez removed her glasses. Ms. Simmons, I'm granting Mr. Thompson's emergency motion. Tyler Brennan is prohibited from any contact with the minor children pending resolution of this divorce. Furthermore, I'm ordering a full custody evaluation and appointing a guardian ad litem to represent the children's interests. She looked at Jenna. Mrs. Thompson, I strongly suggest you obtain separate legal counsel from Mr. Brennan. What you've described may constitute conspiracy to commit fraud. The hearing ended. I walked out into the February cold with Patricia, neither of us speaking until we reached her car. What happens now? I asked. Now? The federal investigation runs its course. Jenna will likely face charges, fraud, conspiracy, maybe more depending on what they find. Tyler definitely will. Patricia unlocked her car. For the custody case, this helps you significantly. A judge isn't going to award primary custody to someone under federal investigation. How long? Federal cases move slowly. 6 months, maybe a year before charges are filed. But the custody evaluation will happen faster. 60 to 90 days. I nodded, watching traffic move past on Meridian Street. Normal people doing normal things. I'd been one of them 3 weeks ago. The custody evaluation took 11 weeks. A psychologist named Dr. Raymond Foster interviewed me, Jenna, both kids, and a list of witnesses that included teachers, neighbors, and Vanessa Brooks. He visited my new apartment, a 2-bedroom in Riverside Estates, 3 blocks from the house, and evaluated how I'd set up the kids' room. He reviewed my restructured work schedule, attended one of my son's soccer games where I was coaching, sat in on a parent-teacher conference. He also reviewed the federal investigation file that was building against Jenna and Tyler. His report arrived on a Tuesday in late May, almost 4 months after I'd found Jenna with Tyler. Patricia called me at work. We got the custody evaluation. You're going to want to read this sitting down. Good news or bad news? Good. Very good. I heard papers rustling. Dr. Foster recommends primary physical custody be awarded to you, with Jenna receiving supervised visitation pending resolution of the criminal investigation. After that, assuming she's not incarcerated, he recommends a gradual transition to standard visitation, every other weekend and 1 evening per week. I sat down in my corner office, looking out at the Indianapolis skyline. Supervised visitation? He cites concerns about her judgment, the ongoing federal investigation, and the fact that she introduced a criminal co-conspirator into the children's lives. The supervised visitation is temporary, but it's significant. What about the house? That's still being negotiated. But given that you're getting primary custody and Jenna will likely need money for legal defense, I think we can structure a buyout that works in your favor. After we hung up, I sat in my office for a long time. 4 months ago, I'd been celebrating a promotion, thinking my life was finally coming together. Now I was a single father with primary custody, living in a 2-bedroom apartment, and my ex-wife was facing federal fraud charges. But my kids were safe. They had stability. They had a parent who showed up. That had to be enough. The divorce was finalized on August 12th, 6 months and 3 days after I'd walked through my front door with a bottle of Prosecco. Judge Martinez approved the custody arrangement Dr. Foster had recommended. I got the house. Jenna signed it over in exchange for me assuming the full mortgage and waiving spousal support. She kept her 401k and her car. We split the savings accounts. Tyler Brennan was indicted on 14 counts of fraud in September. Jenna was charged as an accomplice on 6 counts. Her attorney negotiated a plea deal: 18 months in federal prison, 3 years probation, restitution payments. Tyler got 5 years. Jenna served her sentence at a minimum security facility in Terre Haute. The kids visited twice, supervised by a social worker. My daughter asked why mommy lived in a place with fences. My son didn't ask anything at all. She was released in March, 2 years after everything fell apart. By then, the kids had settled into a routine with me. School, homework, soccer practice, piano lessons, weekend pancakes, bedtime stories. The ordinary architecture of childhood that I'd been too busy to appreciate before. Jenna got an apartment on the east side and found work as a dental hygienist again. No more meteorology. She started with supervised visitation, then graduated to every other weekend. The kids went reluctantly at first, then with less resistance. She was still their mother. That didn't change, even after everything else did. 3 years after the divorce, I was coaching my son's soccer team on a Saturday morning when I saw Jenna in the bleachers. It was her weekend with the kids, but she'd brought them to the game anyway. Our daughter sat next to her, eating a granola bar. After the game, we won, 3-2. Jenna approached me while I was packing up the equipment. "They're happy," she said. "The kids. You've done a good job with them." I looked at her. 3 years had changed her. The blonde highlights were gone. She looked tired, older. The weight of consequences. "They needed stability," I said. "I know." She glanced at our son, who was celebrating with his teammates. "I'm sorry, Blake, for all of it. I know that doesn't fix anything, but I need you to know I understand what I destroyed." I thought about all the things I could say. All the anger I'd carried, the betrayal, the nights in hotel rooms and courtrooms and therapy sessions trying to piece together what went wrong. "I hope you figured out who you want to be," I said finally. "For their sake." She nodded, tears in her eyes. "I'm trying." She collected the kids and left. I watched them drive away in her 10-year-old sedan, heading to her apartment for the weekend. A smaller life than the one we'd planned, but maybe an honest one. People ask sometimes if I regret how I handled it. If I should have tried counseling, given her another chance, worked harder to save the marriage. The answer is no. Not because I'm vindictive or unforgiving, but because some betrayals reveal fundamental truths about who people are. Jenna didn't just have an affair. She built a relationship with someone who convinced her to commit fraud. She risked our children's stability, her career, and her freedom for a man who saw her as an accomplice. That wasn't a mistake. That was a choice, made over and over for months. My choice was different. I chose my children. I chose to restructure my career, to learn how to braid my daughter's hair, to be present for the small moments I'd been missing. The promotion I'd celebrated that Tuesday afternoon? It mattered less than I thought. The corner office was nice. The title was impressive. But none of it compared to my son running to me after scoring a goal, or my daughter falling asleep on my shoulder during movie night, or the ordinary miracle of being the parent they could count on. The marriage ended. The family didn't. That's what I learned from the wreckage. That love isn't just a feeling. It's a series of choices you make every day. Show up. Be present. Do the work. Protect what matters. Everything else is just noise. I still have the bottle of Prosecco from that Tuesday afternoon. It sits on a shelf in my study, the glass cracked from where it hit the bedroom floor. I keep it as a reminder. Not of what I lost, but of what I found when everything fell apart. The person I needed to be was always there. I just had to be broken open to find him.